It is the middle of May, and I'm going to give you a tour of my vegetable garden. And there's some pigs. So my garden is one main garden, and then it has 3 gardens on the sides. So I'll show you the main garden first. These are my peas. It's not very tall. I planted them a little late. But I'm going to also have beans running up this trellis. I've got some salad greens. Some bok choy. A slug. And over here I have some chamomile planted. Got some little carrots coming up. And then I have bigger carrots here. And these I'm actually going to collect the seeds from. And this is my potato patch. It's a combination of potatoes and weeds right now. But here is some potatoes. So I didn't plant these potatoes. I did plant these potatoes because you can kind of see my rows. So that's a row, that's a row. And they're in the path. But I'm going to leave them. And then back here is a whole bunch of beans. These are all bush beans. Some are for canning and some are for eating the dried bean inside. And then along this edge here is my raspberry. So if you peek over this wall, that's another part of the garden, but we have to enter that from the outside. We'll go there eventually. And then down here, planted all the pumpkins. We've had some really warm weather, and so I was like, okay, let's get them in the ground. And now it's cold again. And all of this yellow stuff over here is kale that's gone to flower. But the honeybees like the flowers, and we can still eat the flower buds, and there's still some good leaves. So that'll eventually come out and go to the chickens and the pigs. And this little part here, it's kind of in the middle. This is going to be my daughter's flower garden. And also I'm going to put some herbs in there. I've got more peas here with some lettuce. And then back here I've got a whole bunch of kale to do like baby kale and salads. Got some spinach, some more peas, and some asparagus. So here is, there's weeds. Ignore the grass, but there's the asparagus coming up. I'm trying something new this year. Okay, here we go. So last year I had a really hard time in here. I had a lot of weed pressure. I had oxalis growing, which is a weed that inhibits the growth of other plants. And so I decided I was going to try this weed fabric. It's plastic, and then you burn holes in it, and then you plant your plants in the hole. And it's supposed to cut down on how much time you have to spend weeding. So far I like it. It's definitely different than what I usually do. But my tomatoes are doing well. So I've got a whole line of tomatoes here. These are peppers. And these are peppers. And last year I almost had no tomatoes. And I'm almost out of pasta sauce because I can all of my own tomato products. And so I need a good tomato harvest this year. Here's more tomatoes. And then in the middle, I have, see, there's some weeds coming through, but this is actually an edible weed, so maybe we'll eat this one. I have cantaloupes here, little mini cantaloupes. And then back there in those holes is my cucumber. And the cucumber will grow up this trellis. And the cantaloupes will probably make it hard to walk in here. But that's okay. So it's an experiment to see if this plastic helps me this year. Because actually this is like a lot of garden to maintain. And the hoop house gets so hot that I just don't have time. All right, so my other garden, which has animals in it right now, is this one here. Got pigs. And on the other side of it, I have chickens. Oh, and this is my rhubarb. And I've got some, this is like feverfew, horehounds. This is all medicinal stuff. Mountain mint. I've got a gooseberry here in the corner. Got some more chickens. And this is a currant. See little. So my other garden is on this side. So we'll go over there too. All right, so this is the one of the gardens off the sides, and at any point we can put chickens in here. It's fully fenced in. This one's a little weedy, but it's growing a lot of stuff. So, got some little spinach plants. I have kale. See the kale on the edges? It's Mizuna. And this is little lettuces. That's a weed, but these are lettuces. That's beets. Bok choy. I have some mustard greens. This is also mustard greens. These are radishes. And I have celeries right there. And then back here I've got my onions. I've got a whole bunch. And along here, these are beets. These are actually beets I transplanted. The other ones I planted directly. I've got some Swiss chard. See, that's Swiss chard. This is a Chinese bok choy. And that is a Brussels sprout. So I have them along this back wall. So I'm hoping they get enough shade in the summer because of the way the sun comes up around. Maybe they'll not be too stressed by the heat. All right, let me go take you to the other side. So this is, see, that's my main garden. And then there's another garden way over there. See how it's fully fenced in? So we can put our chickens in there whenever we aren't using it as a garden. But this is called I'm calling this my garlic garden. Because it has rows and rows of garlic. And we will eat all of this garlic. But it also has broccoli. This is also a whole bunch of brassicas. So we have broccolis, There's some bok choy. I mean, not bok choy. This is kohlrabi's in here. Purple cabbages. And I have these beautiful, this cabbage just happens to look so great because it's in the best spot in the whole garden. Because this is right where we used to feed the chickens. And so it's almost like being grown in a compost pile. So whatever the chickens didn't eat, they left, and now it's kind of composted itself. So that's why that cabbage is beautiful. These are hazelnut trees that we planted. And they're doing really well. This tree, I think, is about 8 years old. Look how tall it is. We get a lot of nuts from these trees. And then the ducks kind of get moved around this area, so they help fertilize the trees. So this part of the property is like an old apple orchard. A lot of these trees are really old, but they still produce apples. I can show you. Our apple trees just finished blooming, so I can't really tell how much apples we'll get yet. Like in a few weeks you can see. But so this is a Asian pear tree, and this one actually has some fruit set on it. See those little ones? So those are going to be Asian pears, and so that's good because last year we didn't get any, and I love Asian pears. And these are just regular pears. I don't know if you can see. So these will be future Asian pears. I mean, regular pears. I think it might be a Bartlett. And we also have this old cherry tree. It's a Rainier cherry and an English plum and another English plum. There are some cherries, but I don't know. I don't know if you can see those. They're really high up there. Oh, these are a little lower. It would be awesome to get a good cherry harvest this year because we usually don't. So this is a goji berry. We planted this, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. But its bloom smells so good. This is a Bing cherry, I think. This tree is probably about 4 or 5 years old. And it has some cherries. This is a Hollywood plum, and it's a really big tree. It's about 4 or 5 years old too. And it has fruit on it. What can you see? And then we had another plum here, and it broke in an ice storm. So that's the replacement. And you can see that's the stump of the one that broke. And so this garden right here is, I call it my berry garden because it has all berry plants in it. And I probably weed it 3 times a year. But besides that, I kind of neglect it. And it makes a lot of fruit. So we have blueberries, a row of raspberries. Actually, let me take you in there because it's nice in there. I just recently did my spring weeding in here. So there's a row of blueberries. They're all different varieties. And then these have been in the ground forever. And so we just decided to plant strawberries in them and make this part of this berry garden. We just worked with what was already here. But these are my strawberries. and they're ever bearing, so we get a little bit the whole year. More strawberries. Just some elephant garlic. I didn't plant this. It just comes up. But it has a pretty flower on it. These are Marion berries. The little buds. They're very pokey, but they taste good. And then here I have a couple raspberry plants that didn't fit over with the other raspberries, but they get to have their own section. Blueberries. And we have this garden irrigated, which is nice because I just don't have time to do all the gardens. Back here we have some blue elderberry here and there. So hopefully we can get our own elderberry. We won't have to go out and look for it in the wild. More blueberries. These are my raspberries. It's like a hedge. And then these are my oldest blueberries. These have lived several different places on the property before they found their final home. But they're in bloom. So it is starting to rain, so I'm going to have to stop. But I wanted to show you my herb garden. So my herb garden is actually right in front of my house. And I have a huge patch of oregano. I have sage is back there. I've got some chocolate mint over here. And over here, I have rosemary. And this rosemary plant is about 3 years old. And I have a bay leaf. And got a little bit more. I've got yarrow, which is good. It's like an antiviral. So if you feel like you're gonna get sick, you make yarrow tea. Some poppies. That's anise hyssop. That also makes, it's like a licorice flavor. It makes a really nice tea. I have a lot more of that other places, but I transplanted some here. This is mint, like regular mint. Oh, actually, no, it's spearmint. Spearmint, and this is lemon balm, which is really good for relaxation. You can make it in a tea as well. So the last place I'm going to show you is in my greenhouse. This is unheated. I have, in the ground, I have citrus. So I have several different kinds. There's a mandarin here. There's lemon and lime. And then there's one here, I forgot its name. And I've got some tomato plants, and these are the plants that I used to just direct sow, like, you know, actually plant the seeds right in the ground, but I have garden symphyllans in my garden, and sometimes they'll just eat all of my shoots from my seeds. So I've just given up and I do transplants. It's a lot more work, but it guarantees I'm going to have, my plants are going to grow. So I've got some zucchinis I need to put in still. I've got a little bit more winter squash. This is actually all corn. And this is sunflowers. So these will all get transplanted in probably 2 weeks. I've got my basils. I haven't put them out yet. I've got some Chinese cabbage to try. Some other tomatoes. These are cherry type tomatoes. They're going to get planted not inside of the hoop house because it's not necessary. They'll ripen in time. I've got a tomatillo. I got a terrible looking tomatillo. And some lettuce. These are ground cherries. I've grown them once before, like 10 years ago. And I'm going to give them another shot. My kids are older. They might like snacking on them now that they're older. And holy basil. I grow a lot of holy basil because it's nice as in tea. Got some more tomatoes, more basil, more tomatillos. And then these are all flowers. And then these flowers, a lot of them are dried flowers for crafts. And like these are zinnias just to look pretty. I'll put these in the front garden where my herbs are, just to kind of make it look a little more colorful. And then I have some of these are my perennials. So these will come back year after year. I've got wild bergamot, which is for tea. And Texas hummingbird mint, which is also good for tea. One of these is, I don't know which one. And I think I have, yeah, here it is. They're all in the mint family. That's why they look alike. And lemon bee balm, which this one actually is not a perennial for me, but this is also good in tea. Yeah, so there it is. This is, that was my mid-May 2025 garden tour. And I'll do another video in June, in the middle of June, and you'll see how crazy different it's going to be. Everything's going to grow so much, hopefully, if we have some warm weather.